Hey, hey, beautiful people. It is 12:33, 12:34, 1, 2, 3, 4 on 2/7/2019. It's my mama's birthday. 1, 2, 3, 4. My mama. The process of birthing realities. And that is what we're going through. We are in New Earth energies. There is no doubt. And everything is shifting very fast. I'm watching it in my family. I'm watching it in people I see on the streets. We're watching it in the local news. We're watching it in the state news, the national news, the global news. We're seeing New Earth energies manifesting everywhere as the old situation is being cleaned up. That's pretty cool. I've had a little purging as we're cleaning everything up, and went and knuckle butted a friend of mine who's drummer in my youngest brother's band. When my mother and the four brothers went out to hear the youngest brother's band last week, and I ended up with a chest cold, heavy duty flu, which I needed, and it's in the air, and the air has to be cleaned up. And funny as I told the stories of being with my dear, sweet, angelic friend, Claudia Moreno, and everybody knows I'm a Micheal. I've been open about that for all my life. I'll really open that was my guide until about 20 years ago when I realized I am Micheal. I'm not the only one on planet, but I am Micheal. And you can see it in my life, and you can see it in everything I do. In Alba Wiseman's latest video she posted yesterday, she's taking an Indian gentleman under, and wonderful personality, and he finds out he is Lord Metatron, not Archangel Metatron. And if you remember my videos years ago where I was with Micheal LaFont, and I am actually going through an initiation on camera, on video, for all to see. My light, the frequencies are messing with the cameras. I mean, on Skype, like nothing I've ever seen before. And the video is recorded from the Skype. And so my aura, my frequencies, my level of energies that I channel through consistently are of such a high frequency that it doesn't matter what machines I am using or record on. Just like Claudia Moreno's last week, my frequencies will mess with the machines. Anyway, Claudia takes me into Prime Creator, because that is what I did with video in initiation with Metatron, with Micheal LaFont, is with that Metatron connection, then that takes me from Archangel Micheal to Lord Metatron, not Archangel Metatron, the creator of the multiverses, the eternal that creates the experiences that we live in within these multiverses. Now, he is only 1 out of 8, so you've got 7 other eternals that are creating creations that we can't even begin to comprehend, because that's so different than even the archangels of Metatron's universes can operate through. Well, anyway, the Book of Enoch, for people who know it, talks about all the archangels and the angels who were on Earth at the time that the Nephilim and the giants and the sons of the fallen angels that came into the daughters of men, not the angelic like archangels like Micheal, like me, but the dark ones, the the bands from the Luciferians, which is the opposite side of the polarity that we are experiencing. That's what makes the experience. And so when we get out of these polarities, we can go on. But Enoch, who has always been one of my guides, and people who see me on Microsoft Instant Messenger, Hotmail Instant Messenger, see that ever since Hurricane Katrina, my profile pic and saying, quote, my life quote is, he was taken in a whirlwind. That comes from Enoch. And Noah, the ark, that dealt with the floods, well, that was Enoch's grandson. And so anyway, can you start seeing the correlations? And the book of Enoch is discussing all the angels and archangels. Well, anyway, Alba Wiseman, something like that. She's in Cincinnati, Ohio, and right across the river in Louisville, Kentucky is Claudia Moreno, who I did my regression hypnosis therapy with. Well, anyway, Alba is taking this Indian gentleman into his higher levels of self and back to Prime Creator, and he realizes he is Metatron incarnate here on Earth, just like I am Archangel Micheal incarnate. It's no shit. I've told people for a long time, and they can't understand, but they see what I do, and that should prove my point. So that makes my twin flame also the same lineage. And my angelic name is Manara, and her actual physical name is Moira. And Manara is the masculine side of that angelic name, and Mana, just like food of the angels, is Manara, is my feminine side, that which I'm showing right now. You know, in my past life regression, we recorded some things that I've cleared up. You know, it's not in there challenging me anymore, but the emotions of my past lives and all the wars and the killing. And I'm a damn good killer. I can kill you real quick. I'll just go on to the next one, kill him too. And that's what I was told in 2009, is lay down my swords, lay down my guns, quit my training, and even really stop the spiritual warfare where I'm going into George H.W. Bush and Dick Cheney or HARP. I'd go into HARP and, you know, I'd envision the computers and electronics that ran the high altitude auroral research program that causes the weather modifications or brain programming or low vibrations, or even by low vibrations, the oscillations that generate the earthquakes around the planet, man-made earthquakes, man-made hurricanes, all droughts and floods. And I would project myself into the electronics and create a little moisture. It'd always be a little gremlin in the machine. Or George Bush, I'd come in there and I'd waylay his ass. And I found in my divorce, I always was doing these things all my life, being the opposite side. And, you know, Micheal likes a fight. You watch the movie Micheal with John Travolta, and he's out there in the middle of the field, and the bull's looking at him, and he goes, "Battle!" And that's me. that is me. I am that I am. But 2009, I was told, lay down your guns, lay down your swords, and quit this shit. Because the only way to stop duality is to quit being in the mind, in that mental body, in the emotional body, and quit this balance out of the brain and bring it into this balance and singularity within the heart. You get it? It's not this balance, it's this balance. The true you. And I had to do that and get the original 8,000, which ended up being 144,000, which is Revelation 14, 15, and 16, about that group of 144,000. See, Revelation 7 was the group of the first two groups of 144,000. It was the group that was harmonic convergence of 1987, where we all gathered planet-wide to harmonize or attune at one eyes, 10-11. Actually, it must have been a 10-10. I started looking in, but I saw 10-11. And Tom keeps on coming in with 10-10, and that's a sign of the divinity right there in New Earth. And I'm seeing 10-10 everywhere. I mean, it's just haunting me. It's 1244 as I look down. It's most amazing, the signs and the magic that I'm seeing. But anyway, I need to quit. If I can just get off the being giddy about all the numbers, I might be able to stay on track with some of my stories that I relate to you guys. So anyway, Alba was across the river from Louisville, Kentucky, about the same time with this guy channeling Metatron as I'm on the other side of the river with Claudia, and she's taking me under and channeling Prime Creator and my Micheal self. And anyway, she's got the recordings of that. And again, I was speaking about Lucifer in the middle of the channeling, and on her equipment, it erases when I discuss that secret knowledge of Lucifer. Go figure. So, okay, there's some things that I'm not supposed to be telling you guys. All right, so I get that. And it's all in how easy and simple reality works, how easy the magic is. And it's that right there that these divine masculine twin flames are going to be challenged with when they come online. Well, anyway, the twin flame journey. I never even looked at the twin flame journey. When I was with my twin flame, Moira, and trying to explain to her that I'm Micheal, and she was like, "You're fucking crazy." And I'm going, "Well, hold on, my angelic name is Mana-Ra in Mana-Ra, and I'm of the Ra lineage, and your mom already named you Moira, which in French, Moi means my, and Ra is ray or light. My light is my twin flame's name. Look how similar it is to mine. You do our numerology, and everything is the same. All the numbers in her name, in the two names that I used, or my name, whether Bill Ballard or William Clay Ballard, and all the other data that you put in there. Well, everything paralleled except our life path numbers. And after we had split up, I was going, "Hey, look at this! Just take a look how we're exactly the same except for this life path number," which I had to go in and get the army set up to take back the planet, and did that while she went straight into the material karmic stuff. I had to go back. She wasn't done with it. 1333 as I look down. 1333. Yeah, 333. And that's exactly that trinity right there. She wasn't done with duality, which was the problem and issues that we have had through the past ascension cycles, and why so many of the twin flames, they just didn't get it, because when you're in that 3D level, you're in competition, you're in ego, you're in I'm right, they're wrong. They can't hear, they can't see deeper meaning. They're not operating through the higher spiritual self, which is what we intended to do. That is the divine plan, was to completely separate ourselves from source, to not remember who we are, so that we could experience all the crap and the shit that everybody is just now waking up to themselves creating it. Because remember, we're all ascended masters here on planet. We're all creating our experience, and there's nobody that's having their experience done to them. It is their thought, their vision, their the box that they put themselves within, the programming from from everything that they believe being that lie is true, and it's not true because you believe it. The only way belief creates the experience, the knowingness, get your ass out of there. Right now, and see, this goes back to this whole twin flame journey, because when 15 years ago, when I was writing love letters to my twin flame, and she's married in another relationship, I'm waiting for her to come out, and I realize now why she couldn't come out, because, you know, in all the past times that we've had ascension cycles, or you know, even Anunnaki reptilian visits, because of who I am and my light, they would take my family and the things that I cared about. They would kill, torture, and kill them. You know, starting off at the youngest, most helpless, in front of me and my twin flame, and then they'd kill her, and then they'd come after me. And that crap was in my body. And the magnetics, and Carolyn Puckett, thank you so very much. Thank you, sister, for everything you've done for me. And Claudia too. And Claudia took me back into my past lives. See, what a lot of people don't understand is Louisville, Kentucky has a lot of Ballards in that area. That's because I was John Ballard in the Revolutionary War. And you've heard of Rogers Rangers. And Rogers was the guy that was going around and killing all the generals and becoming he took some of the Kentucky woodsmen and sharpshooters, and they were, you know, the way that the armies worked at that time, they had whole brigades of foot soldiers with their muskets, and they would come in waves at you and have wave after wave after wave, of men marching, and the first wave would kneel down, and the second wave would be up on top of them, standing and shooting, and they'd fire a volley at our one line of undisciplined, untrained soldiers. And I was a gentleman as well as a woodsman at that time. John Ballard was my name. And I had my brothers and sons with me, and I was one of the leaders. And I remember well watching the waves of redcoats coming at me, and them firing their volleys. And you'd see 2 rows coming at you in cannon fire. And I'd look to the left and right and just watching my men drop. God, that just hurt. You talking about what to kill. And my ranks were decimated. So I called the ones who were left, who were all, you know, we're all Tennessee, Kentucky boys, Virginia boys. It was Virginia. Louisville, Kentucky was Virginia at that time. And in Indiana too. It's as the states have rearranged, it's all been part of it. So anyway, for fighting in the revolution, and I'll continue telling the revolutionary story, but for fighting in the revolution as John Ballard and my brothers, we got land together, which is Louisville, Kentucky, and you'll see Ballardville and all the Ballards there, and the airports and all. Well, that was me. And I had a son named John Rose, the Rose line, the Christed line, John Rose Ballard. And that's the descendants. And so you won't find John Ballard in the family lineages, because from the mid 1600s through the late 1700s, we were out and in the wilderness and settling the wilderness, fighting Indians and you know, trying to survive ourselves. And a lot of that time was not documented. Before that time, I was William Clay Ballard. And, I left Ballard Castle in Andover, England, right, not too far from London. That's Ballard Castle, and you'll find me on the register of the William and Mary in 1690. I was one of the King's Army. I was one of the officers in the King's Army fighting in Scotland, and we were in a battle then, and I faked my death because that was also during the time of the Inquisition, and I was very much Protestant. I was not Catholic. And I'll tell previous history back to even Henry VIII. There's several girls that recognize me as having been Henry VIII. And they came through telling me, which I had memories of when I got here and I was learning about Henry VIII. I was just appalled at him until I found out that he was who separated the Protestant church from the Vatican, and he was one of the key players in what we're dealing with now on a world stage, and I realized why I went out of the Ballard lineages, which I've been a Ballard for 1,000 years, since Bilko Ballard. In the 1000s, I was a Viking at that time and came over to England from Denmark, and raping and pillaging the villages. And I continued on as a Ballard, and the Ballards have on their coat of arms, they're of the tribe of Judah. Of their coat of arms is the griffin, and the griffin is the magical lion, Lion of Judah. Where the griffin is, there's mutation that turns us into the Christed magical side, and the sergeant at arms gives the coat of arms, which tells your family lineages and the tribes of the Israelites that you come from. You've got your coat of arms from your mother's side and your coat of arms from your father's side, and that'll give you more of your physical lineage, although our spirit brings in DNA and alters the DNA of the body. I had to be a Ballard for 1,000 years to have the lineage in this body, the purity that I needed, that I was building up each and every lifetime for this time. And I've generally always been a warrior. I haven't I had too many long lives, and everything that I remember is freaking violent. And so I'm looking forward to this time of New Earth and being with my twin flame. And right now she's going through a karmic shift. She doesn't understand a lot of what's going on, and so this video is for her. And that's why I'm calling her by name, Moira. You remember that years ago, I want to say it was 2013, it might have been the end of 2012, when Trish Will, who is Mama Faye, she's the mother of the fairies. Like I said, Metatron, Archangels, all of us our masks are coming off as to who we are and what our lineages are. Yeah, well, some of us have known for a long time who we were, and we've been steering this ship called Mother Earth. And there it's Peter Pan, the Peter Pan story, because I'm Bill Ballard. I'm also Peter Pan. I'm the boy who never grew up. And I've always said that. You ask me how old I am. I'm 21. I've said that since I was 21. I won't ever grow up. Well, Tinkerbell, Trish Will, is the same. Trish Will disappeared. Last time I talked to Trish was the day that I caught this snake, and see, my twin flame is a scorpion snake. And I caught this snake at her old house where she was married, and it was, as I was driving down the road, I saw this huge water box, and I'm talking a 6-foot water box, and that's a big water box, and coiled up right at the mailbox at her ex-husband's house. And me, I've always got to catch snakes. That's just me. caught the biggest copperhead I ever saw, literally the day before Katrina, down here in the Pascagoula Swamps where we're out picking wild mushrooms. But anyway, I catch that snake, I take a picture of it, and that's my profile picture on Facebook. And Tinkerbell messaged me that day and was like, "Oh, Billy Bear, it's so good to see your face." And she had been gone for a year before then. That's because she can't handle the intensity of this final battle that we've had with Team Dark on Planet. And she wants to run with their fairies. The funny part about it is I'm seeing them all around now. They're flying everywhere. They're coming back as George H.W. Bush, the great Satan, the devil incarnate, is now gone. And who could do that and take out Beelzebub but Micheal? And then we step into New Earth, and all the twin flames can come back together now. But my twin flame, and the whole part about the story is, I never comprehended, although I spoke about what twin flames were and my feelings towards her in my memories to her as we were together in a 5-year span over 10 years ago. I have not talked to her face to face in 10 years, but I'm getting all these downloads that she's coming in. She called me in, but we got called in because we finally took out George H.W. Bush. He was finally removed from the planet. Satan, the devil incarnate, was fine. And when I left her, I told her, I've got to take back this planet. That's what I'm using my love for her for. And I went through my ascension. I got the other 8,000 of us, the 144,000. Now we're into the millions. Now, the divine masculines, which are mostly males, but I'm a divine feminine. Although I'm an Archangel Micheal, but within my twin flame relationship, I'm the feminine. So, this whole thing gets really wild. And it's the feminines that had to activate beginning back in 2009 en masse, and in whole division that sent out the ripples. We created the effect that went planet-wide that initiated the planetary ascension. And we also did all the expose on Team Dark and lighting them up. Going, "Oh, you think you're going to do that, darkness? Well, let's put a little information out to the world about you." And that's what Anonymous was about. And so and then that information is what ended up setting up the Great Awakening and the removal of the veil for humanity to see what was going on with our government and who was actually ruling this world, and the banking systems and the monetary systems, and we lit it up like the sun. And what can you do about that? Now, in the Anonymous teams, when there is someone that needs to be exposed, somebody puts out a bread thread, and then everybody does their research, and the crumbs come in, and you can see everything that you want to know about this individual target that somebody set up. That's the most badass way to use the internet. And see, the internet is a representation of the consciousness grid for those persons who are not yet in 5D. For people in 5D, you can attune to that consciousness grid. That consciousness grid was destroyed at the fall of Atlantis, and when we opened the 1111 doorway, January 11th, 1992, doing ceremony, which were the wheels and wheels of the living beings that is mentioned in Ezekiel, and we literally acupunctured the planet, bringing in the energies that was a wormhole vortex to the great central sun, which is the center point, the great ball of light, which is the center point of this Milky Way galaxy. We created the vortex around it, and the vortex coming back and around this quadrant, which is how this quadrant, which includes everything that revolves around Alcyon and Sirius B, we're moving that to the center of the galaxy. That's how we did that. And then the planetary ascension vehicle was the white dove that we created and activated in Angel Fire, New Mexico in, I want to say that was WESAC of 1992. And we began 3003 reflections. And we began the sequence of events, kind of like a rocket engine taking off. Well, as that rocket engine is taking off, you've got the countdown. There's a sequence of events of fuel pipes and everything disconnecting, and the launch pad moving out, or the launch tower moving out, and the ignition, and you've got T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, and all these events going off. Well, that was all started in January of 1992 and really activated by WESAC of 1992. I was sealed and told I would never die, taken to the upper room by Archangel Micheal, literally physically. I'm not talking out of my body. I was looking back in my bed. I was in my body as I was leaving planet. And that was my story's past couple of videos. I could never do the astral project because I couldn't leave my body, so I had to go inward to get out. So anyway, I was sealed then, and all this planetary ascension began then. But we've done this twice, and the first time we went to 1,000 years in the future, and there was only a few of us who actually went through our ascension the first go round, and I'm talking the year 1999, before 9/11, 2001 would have happened. And we went through the ascension thinking, oh, everybody's going to go through it, whenever they get through it. And we got to 1,000 years in the future, and we couldn't go to the next phase, which is the density expansion shift, which is the end of the book of Revelation, where you've got, literally the complete visual change that John the Light, John the Beloved, saw in his vision as I wrote it out. But I can't say it was just me, because Renanda was there too, and we got the same memories. So these things happen. There's a lot of us inhabiting one body to get something done, and I've seen that as the truth. And that goes back to Henry VIII, because the ladies that have come to me saying, I remember being married to you because I was one of the wives of Henry VIII. They were the same wife, and they were the same female pharaoh in Egypt, and these two persons were 20 years difference in Ginger Star Tetrault and Kim Bright. You're the two who I'm talking about here. Had the same memories of the exact same, being the exact same person in two different people, and they had never met. They had never had contact. I had contact with both. Kim was my sugar mama when I was a teenager, and Ginger and I came together to do sacred water healing next to Crystal River Nuclear Power Plant in 2012, when we were doing that sacred work, because that was the nuclear power plant with the cracked reactor that I had to go to until it was shut down permanently. 3333 is looked down. See how... Anyway, back to Twin Flames. I had the calling... Well, let's go back to George H.W. Bush crossing, transitioning, and it comes to be 1221, and it's the winter solstice energies incoming, and I'm recognizing that we've got a whole new high, pure vibe, and I'm not just being rattled to the core and oscillation like I had been since 2009. We had blasted through, just like blasting through the sound barrier. When you come up to the friction that's created by the speed of sound, for many pilots died through that ascension into, supersonic, because they just didn't punch through. Well, that's the same thing with ascension. Many people died. Some of us punched through, shifted our consciousness from the head of the heart. anyway, 12/21/2018, the new energies had come through as the devil incarnate, George H.W. Bush, was removed from the planet. And me as Micheal, I was recognizing those energies, but I could not anchor them. And I've told this story in the previous videos, the first one I did this year, until Christmas night, when I was realizing that I had to clean up so many of the memories of being killed and tortured and everything else from these same individuals. And so now that they're not here, I can clean up, and that shifted the energies. I could anchor the new frequencies coming in. And on 12/31, I did a meditation with, I was called to do it with my twin flame again, just sending her love. Because Christmas night, I was cutting cords and came to that one, and it was, when I went to cut it, it was like, no, don't do that. So 12/31, I go through the portals every New Year's Eve right there at midnight, and do my work from then. And that's when I first saw my twin flame and us splitting apart, was 12/31 in 2009. And I was like, why do I have this feeling? And we were apart. She's been with somebody else. I already know what's going on. She doesn't know I know what's going on, but I'm already seeing you can't hide from me. 3622. And so she's having an affair, thinking I don't know, and she can hide all this stuff. And I know what's going on, but I'm going through my activation process. I'm already activated at that point. I'm an ascended master, baby ascended master at that point, December 31st, 2009, and the other 8,000 around the planet were too. And so we've removed the negativity, shifted our conscious from our head to our heart. Third eye, bam, blasts open. You have all this knowingness and understanding and leveling up with higher states of consciousness. Okay, I am Archangel Micheal. I get it. And so we go through our missions. And ever since then, I knew that it was going to be a battle with Team Dark. And in previous times, they would take my family and kill them. And in the next months after that, my mail started getting, well, in the next months after that, we had the biblical bottomless pit, which was the Gulf oil spill, which was just over the horizon out here, which I told everybody all my life I was going to be a part of, but I thought it was going to be in the Middle East. I thought I'd end up over there in some type of a physical battle. Never realized it was going to be right here. And I had always said all my life, only the Christ can close that up. Well, I didn't realize what the Christ meant at that point, although I was getting the messages and I was right on target. The Christ is those of us who have gone through our ascension process and shifted our consciousness from head to the heart, activated our heart chakra and full chakra system, our heart chakra, the tritial field, the Merkaba, the giant energetic gyroscope, ball of light, just like Jodie Foster goes through in contact. Well, that's what the Luciferians do. They create a technology to do what we do naturally. Those of us ascended masters do naturally. And that was 38. 38 as I looked down. It's 11. We start getting attacked very, very heavily, and to the point where I had to pack up my stuff and move away from my family. So I knew what would happen. I knew exactly what would happen. I've been through it over and over and over and over again, and only by having those memories and the inner knowingness, following my intuition, was I able to get out of it. Because they were hacking my computers and putting, all types of stuff they can put you away for a long time on. And we were hacking them too. I'm going to release some videos before too long of something that I did that proved Bill Gates had already planned. He planned to make billions of dollars with Windows XP back in, I'll say that was what, April of 2014, and I had to do some hacking on a computer system to retrieve some data on it, on a 20-year-old computer system that had encryption bombs on it, and I was able, because I'm a locksmith, I can pick locks and stuff like that. I'm damn good at computers and code writing and stuff. I was able to do the job, and it was on my family system, and I recorded what I was doing and playing with the encryption bombs and all that stuff. But as I went to reload the computers, I realized that the Service Pack 2 was removed from the update site on Windows XP, and Bill Gates did this purposely, which allowed him to, in months before Windows XP was shutting down, you could not reload that system, which he was playing games on, which is fucking fraud to the population. And I got it all documented. I did it. Screw you, Bill Gates. You can't kill me now, and you can't mess with my family. And I got your ass, bro. I got you. You need to back down, back off, turn your shit to the light. Otherwise, you're next. And I will be uploading 3 videos that proves everything that I'm saying is true. And I got you many times before that. It just took me that long to realize what you had done. Michael's coming after you. Yeah. Anyway, the Twin Flame Collective, I had never really looked at. I was sending love to my twin flame because, see, I can give her an orgasm from if she's open, if she's not closed down emotionally, I can drop my soul into her body. I can drop my thoughts into her body. I can put her soul into mine. We can make love. We practiced this stuff while she was married, while we were apart. And at night, at 10 o'clock at night, 10:10, because it was 10 o'clock on her side, 10 o'clock on my side, 10:10, we would sit down, she at her house and me at mine, and me with my daughter and her with her kids and her soon-to-be ex-husband. And we would practice, after our kids were down, practice opening ourselves up and working on our telepathy. What is it you're seeing or sending or hearing or receiving? And we'd write that all down with our timestamps. And we'd spend an hour doing this every night. And we did it for a long time. And then every few days, we'd bring the 2 things, writing pads together. And you could see that we were 95% right on target the whole damn time. And it's just like our lives, just like where we've lived, our numerology, it's the same. It's perfect reflection. And so I never really, although I knew what I knew about what I was telling her in my love letters about, man, this is just far beyond, and I remember you from so many lives. But I'd never studied Drenvalo's 1980s work on twin flames and those of us coming back and these end times. And I'd never really looked at the twin flame, divine masculine, divine feminine stuff on the internet. My mission was to battle, take these motherfuckers out. Let's clean up this planet. Even if it kills me, put my family behind me, get away from my family, and go do my mission. And so that mission was done by Christmas of 2018, and I'm making love in the astrals to my twin flame, which seemed to have caused some issues. She was open in a bad relationship and financially connected. I don't know if she's married or not. She might have gotten married. I know she's going through some legal issues right now. I know she's going through some issues with her mom, because her mom is courted to her sacrally, and both the person that she's been with for some time who's working black magic on her and her mom both have courted. And see, my twin flame asked me to court purposely, which is through tantric sex. That courting was that love that we were exchanging energetically on the twin flame was so far freaking beyond. And that's what I used this whole time to go out after Team Dark. And then I got to the point where I was just like, I can't do this without you being there. I've got to stand in my own light, my own power, and proceed on. And then I sent her a message, cut this cord, quit following me, just get away, just try to get yourself out of my life so I can do my mission, because my twin flame's the greatest distraction to my mission that there could be. The love is fantastic, but it's just like going into battle. I can't worry about my wife and a screaming kid back there when I've got a man with a sword coming at me wanting to kill me. It's just, I can't do that. And so I had to put all behind, and she didn't understand that. So this karmic relationship that she went into with a soul partner, not a twin flame, but a soul partner, a karmic partner from her past life, so she could clean up herself, the magnetics, the understanding of what the situation's all about with that person. And she had to get over the materialism. She was always into the sparkly stuff, even though it was the fool's gold. I kept on telling her, have the real stuff, but she couldn't hear a lot of what I'm saying. It's just like me saying that she's Moira and I'm Mana Ra and I'm Archangel Micheal incarnate, and she does not. How can she, from a 3D level of her perception of self, not yet experiencing, open to the higher levels, but not realizing that is her having this experience, and she's got to bring that in. When you don't get that, how can you relate to that? She's getting it now. She's firing up. I feel her at night. She sent me an etheric present when I went to the Elohim to break these soul contracts. See, things that I do for the whole collective of humanity. And the divine feminine, the story that I've got with my twin flame is ongoing throughout the whole twin flame community. It's the same thing with the karmic partners and all of this shit going down, and it's all supposed to end now that we've removed the devil incarnate from the planet and Team Dark is being cleaned up. We can go, okay, well, the military and Trump can take care of the rest of that. And Trump is actually working in divine feminine. Somebody got upset that I said something about that in my last video. Trump he's working as I do, as a divine feminine. Look at what he's doing. He's trying to nurture and take care of everybody. Get out of your head, get into your heart, and observe in a different way. Expand to the higher way of looking at it and look back down on it and see it from there. He is going against the whole patriarchy and that which has kept humanity enslaved. And he is putting himself in a position of getting himself killed. He has had nuclear missiles shot at him. He's had many assassination attempts. They're trying to breadcrumb Hansel and Gretel to the oven of Anka. Listen to what's going on. Look at this from your angelic, archangelic sides, and you can see what's going on a geopolitical level. Step up. Well, all the divine masculine that's waking up right now, part of their mission is going to be waking up the rest of humanity. We've got to change this polarity. Otherwise, we've got just a couple of more years before the magnetic poles on this planet, which used to be like that, which is now at about 36 degrees off, goes boop, and then we got another great big wave coming in. We don't want that to happen. We would like to be able to take care of this ourselves. Get it? So for Moira, who is a yoga instructor, I was giving you messages in my videos all along about what needs to happen. My messages, my videos are not only for the collective of humanity, it's for my own twin flame, and it's for myself. I wish you could understand how it all works. It's all intertwined. There's only one here having 7 billion experiences, but we've got to get all 7 billion to wake up so we can have that one experience shift, which is taking us into the new earth density shift, farther separation, because we realize that we're creating this ourselves. All the darkness that humanity is creating, they are ascended masters. They have got perfect creations. If you want to experience something darkness, they're doing it by being in their brain and thinking about all the crap that's on the outside, feeling all the crap that's outside, saying, look at all that crap on the outside, so they create more of that crap on the outside. And they're creating magic. They are very magical. See it? Get it? So as Archangel Michael, I just have to laugh. Yes, I'm compassionate about people, but you're creating your own shit, So wake up and learn how to manifest that which you want. Just like my intent was to take down Team Dark and to free the planet from its enslavement. And I've held that intent all my life. It took a while to get here, but I did it. You see? Now can you see? Can you see with this eye? And when all three eyes, this eye and this eye, the one that's in there and these two, when they merge together, then your body is full of light. But you can only do that through your heart, through moving out of the brain and into the heart, and then everything can activate. So, for my twin flame, 50-50 as I look down. For my twin flame, I wrote many books on, what needs to happen now, because my twin flame is a top yogi. She is an amazing individual. No different from me, from my Michael self, but she's that in the yoga community. And she was always hitting these glass ceilings that was like, there's got to be something more. There's got to be something more. And it's ascension. And I kept on saying it. I was doing videos on, okay, somebody needs to write a whole new book on yoga called Ascension Yoga. And take this, because that's what it is. What is yoga? It is the ability to, through yourself, through your body, get in touch with Source, get in touch with God. But everybody gets hung up in their ego, and it's like, let me do this pretty pose with so-and-so, and I can hold it for so long. See, it does it with the energy within me. I'm there. No, you're not. You're a little baby looking at its fingers and toes and counting and go, what can I do with this? So break that glass ceiling, come on through, get in your higher self, allow your higher self to come through in this body and do your life purpose. And let's write Ascension Yoga, the yoga of ascension, which was we always held it in the mystery schools, which Team Dark was always trying to come in and kill everybody in the mystery schools. So this has been a battle for a long time, just holding this information, this connection that those of us who have gone through the ascension process on this planet, like me, so many times before, we come through and we are the keepers of the ascension mysteries. There's many people who I have great respect for, like David Wilcock, brother. I got on to you with Carrie Cassidy when she called us in for the call, and you had been threatened, had your life threatened. I told you to put your big boy pants on, and, quit your crying. There's a lot of us who's been attacked for a long time. Let me tell you, you're telling people that ascension is going to come from a solar event. That might be so. Ascension comes from your work through the heart. David Wilcock. Jordan Sather, my dear brother, I love your work, but ascension is not something that goes on the exterior. It is something that is a result of the work that you do on the interior, that shift of consciousness. Now, we could be having a solar flash coming in. We could be having a pole flip. What we do while we're in the physical form in this here and now, not in the future event, matters way more. If you can hold that light in your physical body now, while you're in this density, well, that's the whole key to showing you are a master, right there, bros. So you guys are operating from fourth dimensional level, which is a mental level from your mental body. And you've got to shift into the light body. The only way to activate the light body is the shifting of consciousness from the head to the heart. The activation of the heart chakra, which activates the tritial field, which activates the Merkaba, and your light body. Sure, you can do these things after you're dead. What's the fun of that? It's all a game, and it's all about the experience. And so, why not master the experience while you're in the here and now? See, we can change this whole pole shift. We can make it go smoothly as long as we can control the polarities within the collective self. I know it sounds like a big mission. Well, taking out Team Dark was too, and it's taken me 57 years to accomplish that. Okay? I came in on August 12th, 1962, at the closing of the Lion's Gate. The shooting stars that happens there at the Perseids meteor shower, we're going through the comet remnants of Ballard, the planet that we were on before we came to Earth. And Lionsgate begins with Sirius rising in the morning, the new year. And my birthday is right then for a reason. For me to be Micheal, I needed to be born under a certain set of stars, which is the closing of the Lionsgate, the new year, at the height of the meteor shower that was Maldak, to remind me of the planet we blew up before we came to Earth, to not blow it up this time. And so I live under those stars. And that's the personality as Bill Ballard that I have within this time. And remember, William Clay Ballard. William means protector or strong helmet. Clay means of the earth, the earth. Ballard came from ballad or song, the story. And R, if you remove the R out of Ballard, you get ballad, the song, the story. And so my name, as my family named me, means protector of Earth's ballad. So the ballad does not get destroyed. I am Mana Ra. I am of the angelic Ra lineage. My twin flame is Moira. Of course, my name is Walking Star because the sacred grandmothers could see the light. I was one of the first people to activate within the whole indigenous tribes, and I am a card-carrying Cherokee, so I could go into Kiva and do sacred ceremonies with the Native Americans. I had to be. I am one of the white brothers that came back to Hopi land to fulfill the prophecies and bust the energy dome so that Hopi land could step out of the fourth dimension, which they had always been in, holding it for humanity, and into fifth dimension. And then all the vortexes around Arizona started merging into one. We had a giant vortex before the whole planet came up in frequency. That's how we did this shift. Lisa Renee spoke of the work that I was out there doing in Hopi land. I was able to remove the men in black from the planet and satisfy their contracts satisfactorily, so we could remove the dark crystals that was within our hearts, our angelic hearts, so that we could be weighted down and be in this polarity duality game and give that darkness back to them. I received my twin flames dark crystal the other night and was able to process that. And only Micheal can do those things. So anyway, everything is freaking magical. I am Peter Pan. My twin flame's name is Moira Anderson. In the Peter Pan story, and Trish Wheel was Tinkerbell, and Trish and I are steering the Earth ship back to the center of the Milky Way galaxy, and she's doing it while have been fighting Team Dark. And anyway, you had Peter Pan and Wendy, and Peter Pan's in love with both of them. And Wendy's name is Wendy Moira Angela Darling, and my twin flame's name is Wendy Moira Anderson Darling. Now, think about all this. The 1111 and Bill Ballard, 81262, 8 plus the 1 plus the 2 is 11, and the 1 plus the 2 plus the 6, 2 is 11. So I'm 1111 all over. My whole existence is magical. And yours is too, when you finally wake up. So to my twin flame, next mission is writing the book on the yoga of ascension. And so and get in touch with me. It's about time. But I know you're under duress right now. Take care of your light. Take care of your karma. Take care of all the shit that you got to do before you get out of the relationship. And so anyway, cool vid. Love y'all. Bye for now.